There was an idea once. You could barely whisper it. It's from a time long ago, time that we have forgotten about, that we don't even probably know about. It's an idea that we've tried to replicate over and over again throughout the many millennia that we've existed on this planet. It's an idea based around honesty, openness, understanding, respect, honour, chivalry, courage. It's how we should treat each other. It's how we should treat the planet. It's how we can coexist in one form together in understanding. And time again, we've forgotten this idea. And out of the birth of tragedy, we try and grasp the idea once again. However, as always, the dark, the greed, the lust for power pollutes our existence. Once upon a time, though, we believed it. Once upon a time, we understood that we could live in harmony with the earth, that the earth provided us everything we need and nothing we didn't, and we could exist and coexist as one on this big blue ball hurtling through space. It's just an idea that has existed for as long as we have existed, which could be hundreds of thousands or more years. It's the very thing that burns inside of us. It's the very thing that when we sit down and think about what we want for humanity, that's it. Peace and love, no war. However, after thousands of hours of podcasts, and I couldn't tell you how many words of data and synthesizing it, and after a float session and a healing, this idea has been running around inside my head. Because why is it so difficult to grasp? I think maybe now we're too far down the materialistic, capitalistic rabbit hole, and we've skewed our desires and our wants and our needs so far that it's hard to see clear. However, it is pretty clear. It's actually a very, very simple idea. You know, I was reminded of the Knights of the Round Table. That's one of the classic examples of this idea. Arthur trying to create a perfect bunch of people that upheld his ideals and upheld the general ideals of the population that we all want inside our hearts. And I look around and I listen to all the bullshit that's going on in the world, and the fact that it's actually a pretty scary place. Now, I agree that this time, right now, is the best time to live, as far as it goes, as far as famine and disease and all those things. All the positives are going up. However, if you open your eyes just a little bit, just a little, you'll see that the world is teetering on a pinhead, and every day it inches closer. Because the foundation that we've built this planet on in this modern world is built of sand. It shifts and moves. Our money is nothing. Ones and zeros in a computer, manipulated by a very few to control the rest of us. The things that we've been told that will make us happy don't. Almost 3/4 of us hate what we do on a day-to-day basis. Imagine that. You spend 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 to God knows how many hours I've worked in some of the jobs I've worked. You spend more time there than you do anywhere else in a normal job. And you hate it. And you're striving for materialistic things that don't matter, that aren't going to make you happy. However, if you can sit and you can be quiet, and you can think clearly. You can hear it on the wind, this idea. It's just a whisper. Imagine having the courage as a people and team people, because respect is about understanding the colour, creed, religion, sex, gender. All these things don't matter. As long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you're leaving the kids alone and leaving them alone, it's okay. We have one of the major religions in this world is predatory and has been for as long as anyone remembers on our children, and we allow it to exist. These are the people that are supposed to give us our spiritual guidance. Now, I don't shame anyone who's religious. If you being religious gives you strength and gives you peace and gives you direction, not a problem, all for it. Because what it actually does is it fills one of the voids that is missing so much from our existence. It's a tribe. You know, you go there on Sunday and you're with your people and you feel part of something bigger than you. And that's such an essential part of human existence. And we're in a very strange time where this idea just seems to be whispering to us all. And we know it's the right idea. Being honest and open and understanding of each other and our differences. Having the respect to understand those differences without violence and without resorting to negative acts. Having the courage to not only face ourselves but face each other and help each other. Because it's scary and fear will always exist, but courage is acting despite fear, not in the absence of fear. Because the thing about this idea is it's based in pure intent and positive intent. And potentially the failings of this idea is that human existence requires contrast. It requires darkness in order to understand what is light. And those of us that have done our own shadow work understand that. Because the answers are in the darkness. And you only appreciate the light once you've seen those answers in the darkness. And it's interesting if you think back that this idea, this whisper of an idea, has only come after great tragedy or great war. I can only imagine the people that survived the cataclysm 13,000 years ago, in whatever form it took, they had that idea. Arthur, after he'd conquered Camelot, he had that idea. As late as the end of World War II and the birth of the United Nations and the League of Nations, they had that idea. But something creeps in. The lust for greed, power, money, things that ultimately you can't take with you. And at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, you're not really going to worry about. What are you going to worry about? You're going to worry whether you treated people correctly, whether you've been there for people, with the moments that actually define us. I used to ask my classes a question. We used to discuss materialistic gain. What is your most precious memory? Is there anything materialistic attached to that memory? Or is it a person or an experience or a bit of both? There's nothing attached materialistically to that memory, because materialistic things, although they're awesome in ways and they give us, some of us, goals to reach and to strive for, that ultimately is not what's going to make us happy. And obviously it It has propelled our society forward to the technological revolution that we're currently in, that allows me to speak into this microphone, post it, and for you guys to hear that. So I don't want to shit on materialism the whole time, because it has given us some amazing things. However, this technological revolution, although it has brought us closer together across the planet, it's tearing us apart. The industries and jobs that we've created in this Western society do not satisfy our souls. 3/4 of us hate our jobs and would rather be doing something else. There's a lucky few that get to make money out of what they love. And there's a growing movement amongst us, myself included, trying to turn what they love into supporting their family. Because the thing is too, we're material girls in the material world. There's nothing we can do. We have to exist. You want to go and live off the land, that's great, that's fine. What are you going to do for power? What are you going to do for food? Unfortunately, all these things require those pieces of plastic that we've agreed mean money. But this idea, you can hear it, can't you? It's just a whisper. Imagine that. And this is not a male, female, gender fluid unicorn idea. This is a people idea. This is everyone and everything in all places, all colour, all creed, all religion, all sex, all gender. Because nothing is black or white, guys. Everything is shades of grey. And if you sit there and contemplate even the most black or white things, and if you are open-minded enough, you will understand that nothing is black or white. And it's hard to wrap your head around. It's hard to wrap your head around because of your belief systems that control you, your pre-existing condition of where you were raised, your family, the country you were born in, the religion you may have been born into, the culture. All these things shape your existence. However, they aren't who you are. You know, we talked with Martin last week about who are you. It's not any of those things. It's not any of your material possessions. It's not any of your beliefs. Who are you? What is the essence of who you are? And who does that person want? That person wants to embrace this idea. The idea that's been on the wind for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years. Where we look after each other. And we love each other. And we understand the differences. I think maybe where sometimes this idea falls down is everything isn't positive. And the human existence deems that so. Not everything can be positive. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it sucks. However, guess what? The only way you know it sucks is because you've experienced good. And you can turn those negative experiences with some discipline and some understanding into positive experiences. And if we can understand that we were all babies once, and that for a roll of the dice, you treat everyone like they're you leading a different life, because it could happen. It could have happened. A roll of the dice, a different turn here, and you could be that person. You could live that life. You could have experienced their trauma. And the thing about things that cause us trauma and pain is there's no doubt that some of us have experienced levels of trauma that on paper seem worse than others. However, you aren't the one to judge whether or not that trauma affects that person any less than your trauma affects you. Because they too are a product of their existence and their understanding and their belief systems and what's happened to them. So whereas one person might cry over spilt milk and the other might laugh at someone crying over spilt milk, That may have been their last drop of milk. You don't know that. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they've experienced, what they've gone through to get that glass of milk. And to pretend otherwise is folly. If we can, just for a second, and it takes discipline, and it takes a level of openness and understanding, and just trying to hear this idea. Because this isn't an idea that I've come up with. I would never ever pretend that. It's an idea that is existence, as I said in the beginning, from a time before time. In a place where we were all equal. I think back to ancient Egypt, where there was no money. Everybody supplied their services. I gave you a chicken, you gave me a table, or whatever it is. An egalitarian society where we worked together to help each other. There's no other way that the monuments that are built in that desert could be built otherwise. That's a labour of love. That's a level of craftsmanship that we don't even begin to understand. We've tried to embrace this idea time and time again. Yet through the sands of time, we allow it to slip through our fingers. And I wonder that through this technological revolution that has brought us together globally, it's torn us apart individually. We've lost our tribe and we have lost our meaning and our purpose. That in our lonely states, we come up with this idea. Or the muse or the energy of the universe sends this idea back to us. Because if you can apply the things that I'm talking about, if you can see the benefit of the things that I'm talking about, they will serve you. It's also folly to pretend that, what's the quote? To pretend that a lion won't eat you because you didn't eat it. You must be aware of all sides. Does that mean you are not prepared? Does that mean you don't train your body physically to be prepared for whatever situation throws at you? Does that mean we can dance into the Garden of Eden and everybody's cool? Not yet. Not yet. However, maybe, just maybe, we can sit there and we can grasp even just 1% of this idea. And maybe you can open your mind to something that you haven't thought about before. Maybe you can open your mind to talk to someone who you would never have talked to before, because some belief system and some bullshit cultural aspect stops you from doing that. At the end of the day, the only way we're going to move forward together is together. There will always be darkness. However, there also will always be light. And the human condition is trauma. It is levels of trauma and pain. You pull anyone off the street and you talk to them and they'll tell you a harrowing tale of pain and trauma, and depending on the person it could be a fucking terrible story. However, you've got your story, they've got their story. I bet any money that you can find common ground with most people. And it's in that common ground that we could coexist. I've talked to people from all creeds, all colours, all religions, all sexes, all genders. And they all have common ground. The problem is that the fringes on either one side or the other, their ideals, their belief systems, how they exist, the things that they subscribe themselves to, hold them back from reaching that common ground. Some of the things I'm seeing on the web and listening to in podcasts and reading about and hearing about, I was going to say it makes me sad. It doesn't make me sad. I'm disappointed. Because we're better than this. We're better than this as a race of humans. A global race of humans. And this planet is finite. And our existence is finite. However old you are now, you are a percentage into your journey. You might make it to 100 if you're lucky. Is it worth the angst and the stress and the anxiety and the bullshit to try and exist in a place where we can't respect and understand and treat each other with honour? What happened to honour? What happened to doing honourable things for one another? What happened to that being a basis of existence? What happened to chivalry? And chivalry is not just about men looking after women. It's not, let go of your stereotypes. Chivalry is just about respecting each other and serving each other in our highest and best. And loving one another. And not the physical intimacy, sex sells love, but in the human existence. That energy that comes from the source, whatever that is, that's love. And I know we could find common ground. I know that the whisper, this whisper of an idea could be embraced. And it can't be embraced on a global scale. There's too many ingrained belief systems. There's too many ingrained patterns and programs, and the greed and the lust for money and power is perverse, and it poisons us. And we're all guilty of it to a point. We are. You know you are. I know I am. Because guess what? We are all things. The shadows that exist in us exist in others. And but for a roll of the dice in a certain type of situation that could turn south, everything, you could be turned into the most evil person on the planet. However, guess what? You roll that dice the other way. You are an infinite creator. You are God. I am God. We are God. However, we're also part of an energy that, if we banded together, we could do amazing things. My only issue is that I think it's going to take a tragedy on a scale that we don't even comprehend, that we can't even understand, that we may have experienced in the past, however now we've forgotten about, for us to truly understand what this idea is and what it means, and the fact that if we coexisted peacefully, wow, what a world that could be. I don't know whether it's possible in my lifetime. I think the idea is spreading. And if you've taken the time to listen to this, thank you very much. However, I know you know what I'm talking about. And thank you for taking the time to listen. I owed you guys a podcast. There was a few weeks there where I didn't release one. And this idea's just been nagging at me and nagging at me and nagging at me. And I had to get it out and try and share it. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think I'm crazy? The jury's out on that one. We're all a little crazy. Never forget that one of the mottos of this podcast is grasp your eccentricities. Because we're all eccentrics in one way or the other. I think that's it. I've come to the end. This is an idea that I may expand on, however. I got the earworm out of my head and I got what I wanted to say out. And I hope that it spoke to you the way it spoke to me. And take away just the thought. That idea is floating in the ether there somewhere. And it's through growth and understanding and discipline and facing our shadow and all the things we've talked about before on this podcast, healing and growing and understanding and respect, That's all for you, for ourself, to understand self. However, once you truly understand self, you can expand outwards to others. Imagine if we all had that understanding. None of the things that matter would matter. I just hope it doesn't take another world war or a big fucking rock out of the sky or something unbelievably cataclysmic for us to understand that this idea is there and it's the way forward. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time. I'm opening up channels, I'm approaching new people. There's some pretty cool things going on behind the scenes. This one's just me, so enjoy bathing in the sun, because we can all bathe in the sun. Okay? How we must understand that it's not all bathing in the sun, because you bathe in the sun for too long, you're going to get burned. Life is about the black, the white, the shades of grey. It's everything and anything at any one time, all the time, every time, throughout time. Before us, after us, now. That's just the way it is. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon. Cheers.
Today I sat in a field of paper daisies. The gentle breeze made the world wave to me. The day has come with a gold ring wrapped around it. I think I might just bathe in the sun. And I hope my world don't crash in over me, just like it did yesterday. I'm pretty sure the last mirror that I cracked was more than 7 years ago. And I don't want to wear those bullet holes no more. I want to kill my nightmare. And I've done nothing wrong to anyone. Then I just want to be better, better than who I am, better than who I am, better than who I am, better than who I am. Moonlit river flows by gently, like a potion made from the earth. It is healing all of my inner bleeding, even though it's only pictures in my mind. And I hope my world don't crash in over me, just like it did yesterday. I'm pretty sure the last mirror that I cracked was more than 7 years ago.